position.
Oh no!
Oh, look at that!
I got the
Hangouts on air is
notification.
going later this year. For quick streaming, try YouTube.com webcam.
Dude, look at the commercial that came up for this. Trump.
Yeah. It's Trump.
It's Trump.
I got it.
I got
Okay, so my commercial is something different.
What's yours?
I don't know. Oh, it's the Travelocity where they're at the counter and they're paying for the rooms, and one chick is paying more than the guy that used Travelocity.
Sweet.
Yeah, I had a survey.
Okay, so we are live and coming to you from a undisclosed location deep inside a mountain in an abandoned coal mine behind 200 acres of old mainframe computers left over from World War II. So, yeah, conspiracy theorists, they aren't going to find us. We are good to go. We are good. They've already tried to shut Lou Rock down before we started this. They crashed his computer. But we are back. We're on the air now, and there's nothing they can do to stop us.
And we disguised this location to look like our normal houses that we usually live stream from.
Yes, we built a set, and this all came from inside of my house. I had like a whole U-Haul truck to get this set up. You wouldn't, it just amazing.
Believe it.
Yeah.
Things we went through for you.
Yep. This is true.
Let's see what we got out here in the chat. Remy R, Donna Rock, Colleen Channel, Sisterwood, the Sisters Wood, Kyoko Rock Fam, Donna Rock, Serenity Pointer, Beautiful Becky's in there, Diary of Mine, Maggie Kirkpatrick. Anybody else? Anybody? Oh, Viewed This is in here. Scaredy Cat's in here. Hey, Ghost. Hi, Lou.
What up?
No hi for you, Brian. Sorry.
Viewed this. I see a high.
So we are here. We are here tonight. We're going to be talking about some conspiracy theories. Lou Rock actually has a bunch of new ones that I guess I haven't heard of yet.
No,
he's going to be sharing those.
It's just it's stuff that I've never let you know that I believe in this stuff.
Right.
Well, first topic for discussion. Hashtag dog ham. Take it away, Lou.
Guys,
I'm going to let you take this one.
This is a very serious situation that us Americans are facing that we don't even know it's happening. It's happening right underneath our very noses. Okay? Our domestic animals are being kidnapped and ground into a paste type substance and being added to processed ham. Okay? This is a horrible, horrible practice. We are eating our own dogs. Okay? Poodles, Jack Russell Terriers, even bulldogs. And we need to stop this, man. We need to rise up and end this practice of eating our own pets. It's so saddening. We need to spread the word. Spread the word, guys. Spread the word about dog ham. Okay?
Yeah, get that hashtag dog ham out there in the chat. Let's blow it up. And guys, share this out. We got 28 people in here right now. Share this out. Tweet this out. Put this out. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace. Cardboard sign out next to the road. Neighbor's van. Have them drive it around the block. Paint it on the water tower. Go out to the country. Paint it on the side of that old mail pouch chewing tobacco barn out there. Put it up all over the place. Marcel Harding with
Magic market this on your ass and go out in traffic and moon people.
Do it up.
Yes.
Marcel Harding with a $2 super chat. Ghost is the man.
Marcel.
Dog ham, just say no.
Yes, just say no to dog ham. I'm just going to let you guys know, I wouldn't eat a ham, egg, and cheese from McDonald's.
No.
I wouldn't do it. You just never know. You heard about the pink paste that they put in the nuggets, right?
Yep.
Well, think about what they put in the ham. Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've never even thought of that. That's horrible.
It is. It is.
I mean, you know, and there was a time I used to work at McDonald's back in the day, and like when they get the onions, they're literally freeze-dried onions in this little tiny packet. You tear it open, and you get the little thing. You put so much water in it, you pour the packets in there, and then you let it set for like an hour, and you come back, and it's a whole bowl full of onions.
You know that those
And it's
onions
all
are
like that.
actually just onion flavored toenails. Yes.
I thought
This
they were
is
dehydrated cattails.
Dehydrated cattail, JoJo thought.
dehydrated cattails
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
toenails.
Yeah, it could be.
This is a problem, guys. This is an issue.
Donna Rock says, "Oh my God, I was at Walmart and they were giving out samples of dog ham."
Oh man.
You reading this? They were giving out samples of dog ham. Samples.
So were they like on crackers? Shame on those people.
Was it a dog ham tartare?
Oh, that's even worse if they didn't cook it first.
Yeah.
Raw
I mean,
dog?
you got to cook it. I mean, you could get heartworm, hookworm. I mean,
You can get anything.
think about it. Think about it.
Dog
Yeah,
worm?
I mean, you could end up having fleas afterwards, or
Puppy
ticks,
breath?
Lyme disease, puppy breath.
Right?
Man,
Everything.
something just so wrong with that.
There's a lot wrong with that.
Kyoko Rock Fams, dogs are people too.
Yep. Could be some shit on that cracker. You don't know.
Ooh, was it on animal crackers?
Right?
Oh, now that's just wrong, Lou. That right there. That's over the line, brother. I just gotta say, I mean, they even went so far as to take. You remember how the box was like a circus trailer, and it had the bars, and you had the tiger inside the circus trailer. They took the animals out of the cages on animal crackers now. Yep,
They're
they don't
not-
feel that they should be portrayed as being caged animals. And that's actually true. That's part of the whole conspiracy theory thing that actually happened. That is 100% real right there. They took the animal crackers out from behind the bars on the box.
Guys, tonight you are going to hear a lot of 100% facts, total truths.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's going to be busting out everywhere.
Yes.
So right now we got
This is a
30 people in
serious
here. Definitely, let's share this out. Let's get some more people up in here, and let's go for our first topic. Let's see who's got a conspiracy for us.
Well, hold on. I still have one connected to dog ham.
Okay.
Do you know that the reason they actually killed JFK was because he was going to out the country on dog ham way back whenever
Really?
they killed JFK? Yes. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know it went that far back, but I mean,
Yep.
I mean, there was a lot of conspiracy around, JFK's death between, the mob and Jack Ruby and the Carousel Club and even the mobsters such as Santos Trapacante and like all kinds of players that were in the grassy knoll,
Somebody had to
the
kidnap these
deathbed
dogs.
confession. The deathbed confession of a mafia hitman that said that he walked around in the sewers for 3 days after he made the hit from a sewer drain, trying to find his way out of the sewers.
Yeah.
All
With his fingers.
100% true. Yep. These are facts, people.
No. They're all facts. 100%. Even on the Apple phone.
West Haven with a $1 super chat. Thank you, West Haven.
Oh,
Dog
look how
ham.
many people see UFOs, and then the government comes in and said it's a weather balloons.
Actually, Serenity, Patty is not even a real human being. She's a hologram. This is true.
I haven't seen Patty or Lou in any fake videos. Patty is a hologram?
Patty is a hologram. Yep.
No.
Just like
No.
Star Trek. Yes.
No.
Yeah, I went to give her a hug,
Finger?
and I just fell on my face because I went right through her.
Yeah,
Really?
Yes. This is
Really?
I
See,
watched.
I've never met Patty in person, but I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to find that one out on my own.
Yeah.
Patty a hologram. That's an interesting theory.
This is facts. These are facts. Okay. I've been right there with so-called Patty.
Right?
I'm telling you, I went to hug her and
Patty,
right through her.
Right Facebook.
Patty and Heather are going to come into this chat, and they're going to hear you talking about that. And she's going to be like, Lou, I'm going to kick your ass.
Oh
See,
man,
Casper, I worship God. Hello, Ghost Mafia. Hello. Royal Rules is in here. We're up to 32 people in the chat right now. We just I don't know. You got anything more for Dog Ham, Lou?
alien.
If anything comes to mind, I'll let you know. But no, that should be it for now. Spread the word, guys. Spread the word.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think that Lou dreamed Patty up. Donna Rock says so.
Oh, Tammy Burgess Rock Fam is in the chat. Tammy, I heard you was in the hospital. I hope you're feeling better. Been sending out prayers for you all day. Was over there at Green Bay Wackies and heard about it, and heard you were in the hospital. So hope you're feeling a lot better. Hope you're home and getting well.
For sure.
I will be soon as they get the fever under control and infection taken care of. Well, our prayers are going out to you, Tammy Burgess Rock Fam, and guys, let's get some prayer emojis out there in the chat. I hope it wasn't a reaction to something you ate, like maybe dog ham or something. I'm hoping for that.
Did you have a burger from McDonald's? They switched the patties to dog ham. It's true.
Yeah, watch out for that the hospital food, because you never know.
Yeah, they could order
especially hospital food.
Especially.
No, seriously though, I'm not trying to make fun of Tammy Burgess Rock Fam. She actually is in the hospital in ICU right now with an infection that has spread throughout her body, and they're trying to get her fever down and trying to get her better. And prayers go out to Tammy Burgess Rock Fam. Let's get her home. So,
Kim, doesn't you call me?
Tammy, I hope you're feeling better soon. Can we say a prayer for Tammy?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. God, please send our friend Tammy strength to get over this infection. Take away all her pain and help her heal as soon as possible. Thank you for bringing us all into each other's lives. Thank you for the blessings you give us every single day. Please just help our friend get out of the hospital. Amen.
Amen.
I'm not the best prayer guy, but
look, and I never expected to see Tammy Burgess Rock Fam in the chat tonight, knowing that she was in the hospital, but I'm glad to see her. I really am.
I am too.
I mean, I love that she's such a dedicated supporter of our channels and everything, that she, even in the hospital, she didn't want to miss out on tonight. So thank you for being here, Tammy.
Exactly.
It means the world to us. So Okay, so conspiracies. What are some of the best conspiracies that you've heard of, like Brian? Like, what's some of the top of your list? Like the top two conspiracies that you've heard of all time?
I haven't really heard of any. I don't really watch the news, so
Well, no, the conspiracies are like okay, like um,
Have they gotten to
Hitler.
Brian? I think they got to
Hitler.
Brian.
Yeah, I think they got to Brian. Like Hitler didn't die at the end of World War II. He actually escaped and lived out his life in Argentina until he was 94 years old and passed away from complications of, stomach things.
You know, they actually got a lot of like real evidence that
Yeah,
make
I know.
that kind of.
Or
secret
John Wilkes
society.
Booth got away with murdering Abraham Lincoln, and the guy that was killed in place of him wasn't actually him.
Illuminati.
There's a lot of conspiracies.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Illuminati. There you go. They're
Oh yeah, they're using stem cells in Pepsi. Did you know that?
using what?
Stem cells in Pepsi. Remy was
Stem
saying-
cells in Pepsis.
Yeah.
That one I hadn't heard yet. I didn't. Dead human bodies for farm compost. Wow. I don't know. The most disturbing one for me is like, and I think it's like looming on the horizon because it's been hush hush. It's the whole FEMA teamed up with Walmart and the 2 million FEMA caskets that they have stored at FEMA camps and all the UN vehicles being shipped all over the United States for this and that. And now they're actually starting to shut down certain Walmarts without any reason.
That ties into something I know about personally from my family, actually telling me about it because they've been there. There's actually underground tunnels that connect all the states in the United States. And the only trucks that they allow in those tunnels are Sam's Club and Walmart and other, I believe, I'm don't quote me on this, but I believe like BJ's is in there too. But I could see them doing this for infrastructure. Say there's an emergency, state of emergency somewhere, and the highways are shut down. That's a good way for them to be able to get goods in and out of an emergency zone.
Yeah.
My biological father is a truck driver, and he's told me he's been in these underground highways, and that there's actually, from what he knows, a highway that goes all the way from Texas to Maine.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
And if you take the word Walmart, what is it? It's wall, not W-A-L-L. It's W-A-L. You spell that backwards, that's law. Just like martial law, Walmart.
Walmart. Right.
Well, I mean, there's no denying that the way that the Walmarts are set up, they have the garden center that has it's almost like a processing center. It's set up. You have to go through the gate, and then there's like a whole prison like gate system in there, and then you can't even get into the store without going through the double doors. It's separate from the store itself. They're fortified. I mean, the whole building. Yeah, and there's actually one over near Cincinnati, Ohio, that's already been shut down. The whole plaza, the Sam's Club, the Walmart, the whole plaza has been 9-foot fences with Constantine wire wrapped around the top, just like a prison. And there's military vehicles in the parking lot. The place looks empty, but there's military vehicles on the property. There's razor wire at the backs of the buildings, along the tops of the buildings. So you couldn't climb up there.
Walmart,
It's a no-fly zone for drones.
Walmart, I know this for a fact because I used to live exactly like in front of Walmart right here in Springfield. And Walmart has its own self-sustaining power generators. So when power goes out everywhere, you'll notice Walmart is lit up like a Christmas tree because they have giant generators that are almost big enough to run a city.
Yeah, Sam's Club as well.
And that's another thing. Sam's Club, Uncle Sam.
Yep.
Well, have you ever noticed there's like Sam's Club, Walmart, and then they'll have some kind of hardware place in the same plaza. Either be Lowe's or Menards, something like that. Home Depot. One of those three will be in that plaza with them. So they always have supplies on hand if they needed to go over the, if the military shut down that area, they could requisition whatever they needed from the hardware store to build whatever they needed. They've got the metal fabrications, they got the tools, they got wood, plywood, 2x4s. They've got everything they need right there. They could literally build tiny homes in the parking lot if they wanted to,
You got to think, though, if a state of emergency really happens, all right, say it being either a power outage or a natural disaster, Walmarts are literally fortified. It's already fortified. Say the government needs to step in so people don't just riot and start taking things, or it wouldn't be very hard. They're already set up for it. Definitely.
Contracted by the U.S. government. Yes. Yes, it is. Ooh, I seen another one too. Where was it? Simpsons tell it all, and it's like deja vu. I've seen that too. I've seen a lot of videos about that. Have you seen this, Lou?
Oh, yeah.
Old Simpsons episodes actually predicting the future.
Trump, all right? They predicted Trump. And another thing they predicted, not only just Trump, but they predicted that it would be a female that ran against Trump, and because Maggie in that had grown up.
Yeah.
And actually ran for president. And 9/11.
Cannibal restaurant in LA.
What was that?
They have a cannibal restaurant in LA.
A cannibal restaurant?
Yeah. Remy
That was
was
in The Simpsons?
I have no idea.
Oh. Yeah, but The Simpsons have predicted a lot.
They on The Simpsons, yeah. I've been watching it since I was young and seeing all that on there. Crazy.
What about the episode?
Like the world ending.
What about the episodes of, it was a runoff of the X-Files, and it was called The Smoking Gun, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
And shortly before 9/11, there was an episode on this runoff of the X-Files that explains in detail why and how they would do 9/11. Literally, they're flying planes into the Twin Towers in this television show.
Yeah.
Well, they alluded to the possibility of that. If you watch the movie, the X-Files movie, they alluded to something like that at the Oklahoma City bombing at the FBI the federal building.
Yep.
And at the beginning of the X-Files movie, they actually go in there to defuse the bomb. The chief says, "Get out of here, Mulder, take Scully with you." And he's like, "I'll defuse the bomb." And then he just sits there and waits for the bomb to explode.
Yep.
Like, he knew what was going on, and he knew that he couldn't stop the bomb, and he knew he had to sacrifice to get them out of, that it's kind of like, that's what they were trying to explain, that Oklahoma City bombing thing, but without putting it out there public, you know what I mean? Without busting it out.
In that episode, and what that TV show was, it was the characters that used to help Mulder and Scully, the nerdy guys. It was a runoff of those nerdy guys, going on adventures or whatever. But in that episode, they're actually explaining why 9/11 happened. He asked, why would we fly a plane? And they did it remotely. Why would we fly a plane remotely into a building? And in the show, the bad guy, which was somebody who ran in our own government, explained that if we do this, there'll be a plethora of, and this is what they said, and I'm not trying to insult anybody, but a plethora of Arab-speaking countries that would be willing to take credit for what happened, and that starting those wars would boost our economy, because then we'd be able to sell weapons and stuff like that. So it's all about money when it comes down to the end.
Well, I mean, think of the positive things that came from 9/11 after the fact. I mean, the day it happened, the very day it happened, newspapers put out a second printing that afternoon. And every newspaper in America had that right on the front page was a red, white, and blue American flag. And people were cutting that out. You literally seen them everywhere, on every screen door, in every supermarket window. There was flags everywhere. In fact, there was so many flags being flown after 9/11 that there was a shortage of American flags. The amount of patriotism that came out from after 9/11, the way that the whole United States of America pulled together after that went down. We had not been joined together that tightly as a community, as a country, since Pearl Harbor. And
True.
that lasted about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started falling apart. Then you started having the people that was, disrespecting the flag, and they would do YouTube videos where they was burning flags and stomping on flags, and, Muslims doing this to flags and that to flags. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm don't get me, I don't have anything against the Muslim community or anything like that. But I'm just saying that the negativity came back about 5 years later. And the pride, the American pride, just kind of dwindled off. So it was really a wake-up call for, patriotism in America after 9/11 happened. I mean, I was on the front lines. I was in the fire department. I had 434 brothers die in 9/11 who were firefighters that went in to save people. And, it was a big deal. I was literally, that morning after the first plane flew, I headed to the fire department because we didn't know where the rest of the planes were going to come down. In fact, the one plane came down right over here in Somerset, Pennsylvania, less than 100 miles away from us. So literally, we were on high alert. It was literally DEFCON 4 where we were, because all these planes had to come over our area to get to Washington, to get to New York City, to get where they was going. They was flying right over top of us, and we didn't know where. We didn't know if the military would end up shooting them down someplace, or if they were going to crash. We've got power plants all up and down this river, possible targets. We didn't know what was going to go on. So we were literally high alert. We were on a waiting list to go to ground zero for the next week after that. And they were calling in people to come in and sift through the rubble and try to rescue people and pull them out. They were, they weren't real victorious in finding a lot of living
Exactly.
Yeah,
casualties. But in the course of the months that it took to clean, ground zero up, I mean, they were still finding body parts on tops of buildings over a year later of people that had died at 9/11. So, I mean, 9/11 was like a big deal for me because I was right in the middle of it. It seemed like, even though I wasn't at ground zero, I was in the area that everything had to go right over top of my head to get to ground zero.
What about the owner of the towers taking out an insurance policy the day before it happened?
With that, I have to say that's kind of speculation. I would actually have to see, the actual policy and the date and stuff like
That's
that.
actually.
I'm not saying I don't believe it.
That's
but,
true.
but
That's actually public knowledge. Another thing is the other buildings that fell.
Yep.
There was recordings of the owner of those buildings telling them to pull the building. Now, their term for dropping a building is to pull it. So, I mean, I don't know. I think there's so many conspiracies around 9/11.
Oh, there is, and there's a lot of. That's just like the Pentagon building. The hole in the side of the Pentagon building was not big enough for a 737. The engine that was laying on the lawn did not belong to a 737.
Yep.
There was only one engine there, and it was a multiple engine airplane that flew into the side of the building at over 600 miles an hour. There was a lot of discrepancies with that.
Yes.
I mean, there was a lot of discrepancies that, one of the flights came from Vegas. Now, supposedly, and this is just speculation too, but supposedly the plane got redirected to a Janet flight terminal, which Janet flights were the flights. They're unmarked planes with a red stripe and just a Janet number on the side of it. And they're the planes that usually fly the workers from Las Vegas out to the base at Area 51. Now, supposedly, one of the planes that crashed into the World Trade Centers was offloaded at a Jan terminal in Las Vegas, was seen. People got off the plane, shuttled into the building at the terminal, and then the plane retook off. And just an hour or so later, it crashes into the World Trade Center.
Oh, personally, my own personal thoughts are these planes were remotely flown into the buildings.
But here's the thing. Those people that were offloaded off that flight, that were supposed to be on that flight, have never been found. Their bodies were not found at ground zero.
Well, that goes
and
into a whole nother conspiracy. I've actually seen what I would call evidence of the Challenger, the Challenger space, the one that blew up. Well, every one of those people that was supposedly on that flight has a twin that's alive right now that has a similar name. And there's literally pictures of the people who supposedly died that are still alive. So, I mean, I think that goes into...
See, this is the first time that I've heard this about the Challenger one. So I can remember Challenger. I was like 6 years old when Challenger blew up, and they explained it. There was literally an O-ring that was faulty, and it allowed too much oxygen to get into the afterburners, and it comes up. There started a leak, and the O2 and kaboom, the whole thing goes up. Yeah, Krista McCullough was the school teacher that was supposed to be on that flight.
And actually, she's one of the ones that I've seen pictures of, and that she's still kind of in the same profession. Actually, all of them are they're their explanations for some of them still being around is, oh, well, that person had a twin. Well, they all had twins. I don't know. It's just kind of strange.
Now that happened in 1986. 1986 was an interesting year for a lot of different reasons. You had the Challenger explosion. That was the year of Halley's Comet, which only comes around every 72 years. Okay. I probably won't see it again in my lifetime, but my kids should be able to see it at some point when they're old and gray. And There was a lot of stuff. And in fact, that year, there was a lot of children going missing all the time. In fact, I can remember the stores like Myers Thrifty Acres. We had the Myers Thrifty Acres up through Ohio and into Michigan, and they would do what they did the cards, where you could do the fingerprint cards and file your children's fingerprints along with a picture at that age with the police departments. And there was a lot of that type of stuff going on. It was also around the time of the bear aspirin scare. Somebody had went into not a restaurant, but like a drugstore, opened up a bottle of aspirins, dumped them out, replaced them with like cyanide tablets, and put them back on the shelf. So there was this big scare around like Tylenol and the aspirins, the bear aspirins, and things like that around that same time too. So there was a lot of stuff going on that year.
Now I'm going to go way off to the moon with this one. You know how you said the children went missing?
Yeah, there was a lot of children going missing all over the United States, and it's like that now, but it's like back then they were really trying to do something about it. They were like, everybody would come in and they would be handing out fingerprint cards where you could have your kids fingerprinted and file those with the police department if your kid were to come up missing.
For sure, yeah.
Now there's a theory about the kids going missing, and what's happening to the children is that the elites actually they sacrifice the children and actually eat or drink their blood or something like that. But there's actually a story about an orphanage in Canada that the royal family visited, and I believe it was in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, but it might have been even further back. But anyways, there was an orphanage where the royal family, who's the queen? What's the queen's name?
Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth and Charles visited. Well, there was like it was like 15 or it was a bunch of kids that actually disappeared that day that they visited. And now it's like 30, 40 years later, they have kids that were in that orphanage that are doing lie detector tests saying that when they showed up, these kids disappeared. All knowing of them kids like being there has disappeared. All the paperwork disappeared, but the actual orphans themselves are saying that, these were our friends and they disappeared that day. That's going to go way into something that I actually believe in, which is whacked out. It goes into the Reptilian Theory. I know you've heard of that one.
Yeah.
The Reptilian Theory.
What's that?
What's for the people in the audience, what's the Reptilian Theory?
All right. So basically what the Reptilian Theory is that there's a race of reptilian beings that are infiltrated into our not only government, but just different areas of the world, always in positions of power. And that these beings feed off of our pain and suffering, and it just goes so deep. They sacrifice children. They actually consume them so they live longer. And I'll tell you what, I got really deep into this Reptilian Theory, and actually, I started to go kind of Looney Tunes myself, because every time I would uncover something that was like real, it was like, you got to be kidding me. If you look at a lot of advertisements for different companies, I'm going to just use one for example, Alfa Romeo.
Yep.
If you look at the Alfa Romeo symbol, it's a lizard eating a person. Also, the red cross with the snake wrapped.
Okay, so Kelly, I have to say, Kelly came in, said meow, 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 and we heard the cat. That's just coincidental, but I think there might be a conspiracy there somewhere.
Yeah.
I think Kelly and the cat are Illuminati, and they're conspiring to take over the stream.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
too. My
Shit
cat
giggles
was-
actually, adrenochrome is actually what they're getting out of these children to make them live longer lives.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And that actually goes into the Saturn moon matrix black cube theory, that there's a cube on the backside of Saturn that actually is feeding off of the bad feelings. Like, they want us to be miserable. They want us to have to fight for our rent every month and to go without, and they don't want to give us too much because they wouldn't be able to feed off of the negativity in our lives every single day. This actually goes very, very, very deep. And like the cube theory, every area that you're in, you're standing right now, you're inside of a cube. Every three-dimensional space is measured inside of a cube. Many religions worship the black cube. In Mecca, they circle around a black cube. In the Jewish religion, certain sects wear a black cube on their head. And that actually means that you're boxed. The cube is basically the curse that's left on us. And it sounds very strange and weird, but you'll find that even the Walmart sign, all right, even the Walmart sign itself, you know those lines on the
What
Walmart?
about the Monster Energy drink?
What's that?
Monster Energy drink supposed to have, the Monster Energy drink supposed to signify 666.
Yes.
They've
But
had a lot
you
of
know,
The
I
slashes.
wish I had a pencil. You know the here, I'm gonna draw it for you. This is the Walmart symbol. It's on all Walmarts. Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? So if you take that, anyways, it becomes a cube. I messed it all up. But anyways, if you connect the lines on the Walmart symbol, it'll become a three-dimensional cube. Don't use my horrible illustration as an example. But yes, if you actually connect the lines of that star pattern symbol, it'll become a cube. Also, the cross, this is what some people believe, who actually believe in Jesus and believe in this theory. If you take a cross, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a cube that's been blown out and opened up. So if you fold this edge over, this edge over, this edge over, and this wraps around, that would become a three-dimensional cube.
Yeah.
And the theory behind that is Jesus came down to free us from the cube, from the curse. Some people say that the curse is actually death. And you know what? The more I would get into this black cube, reptilian, weird theory, I would uncover more and more and more things, and more cubes everywhere on all kinds of products, all kinds of trucks driving down the street. So yeah, just really, really crazy.
Hmm. Mm.
Yeah, it's not.
So you think we landed on the moon?
Yeah.
No way. Not a chance.
I don't think so either. Honestly, I don't think that we ever landed on the moon. I think it was hyped up, and that goes back to the JFK conspiracy too.
Yep.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
thinking that maybe at some point, I mean, they faked it. Maybe they didn't tell him that they faked it, and he was like, "Well, all right, we didn't go to the moon." You know, he was going to out it, and maybe that's why he was off.
Yeah.
Think about that one. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
I mean, it was JFK that said we will make it to the moon, blah blah. You know,
Yeah.
and
On top of that, like when you see what the picture, the fruit here on the moon doesn't have the arms.
They've all said it over and over again.
I'm actually going to try
Mhm.
to.
well, and I
Proof
said this
to
the
you.
other day. They actually had high definition footage of the moon landing, which they were rebroadcasting to news outlets, and then they would broadcast it, and that's why we have the grainy footage that we have now, because only thing that was recorded was the grainy footage that the television outlets were rebroadcasting. They've since lost the original moon landing
You're going to
footage.
tell me.
They
the
lost
most-
it. They don't know where it is. They have no clue.
Yeah, you're going to tell me that the most important achievement of mankind in the last 10,000 years, we
Yep.
lost the footage? It's just lost?
Did it turn to dust? Is it
No
It-
way.
It's just
Like,
lost.
that's
No
It-
way. You're not going to tell
you
me
know-
that. No way possible.
In 50 years or so, it could turn up at a yard sale for 50 cents, and they might actually find it.
exactly?
For now, it's lost. It's
But then there's the other countries that have gone to the moon too, and where's their footage?
All right, I'm going to show you.
what
something
other
here.
countries?
China?
I'm going to show you something. I'm on screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep. Gotcha.
All right. So here's footage of the moon
Mhm.
landing, right?
Yeah, we
So
got
now
you now.
what we're
Hold on,
gonna-
I'll present you.
Now, what we're going to do here on this footage is we're just going to times it by 2. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, just a second ago, it looked like it was going in slow motion. But what you'll know, oh, no, we got to times it. I think I did it too much. Ooh.
Well, here's the most compelling thing. You can see through the lander over here. There's something moving, right? That's not a person. That's something on the ship that's like blowing in the wind or something over there. But you're in a vacuum on the moon. There is no wind.
Yeah, but what
No
they
wind.
did is they took
No
footage
wind.
of these people in these suits and they slowed it down by half. So if you times it by 2,
Yeah.
like you could even do it on YouTube. Actually, they only let you do it by playback by 125, so that's a little bit faster than it should be. But if you notice, they'll no longer be bouncing around. They just look like they're walking clumsily. And the reason they slowed it down is to make it look like it's the moon's gravity, like they're bouncing around. But if you look now, they're just standing around just normal. I want to find one of those parts where they're kind of bouncing, because that's where you could really tell that it's baloney. All
Yeah.
right, so here it is. This is where it would look like they're bouncing around, but they're actually not. And there's actually wires holding them up.
Yep.
And this is actually, the speed has been changed by 1.25%. Now, if we go back to the normal speed, they're just moving in slow motion. That's all it is. They slowed it down.
They slowed it right down. Yeah.
So we'll go back to 1.25. I like to see them jumping, because the jumping is what really shows that. They say that actually the moon landing was filmed by Stanley Kubrick.
Really?
Yeah, that the government actually went to Stanley Kubrick, asked him to do it. At first, he said no, but then he was kind of forced into it. They told him that they would be in and out in like one night. And if you watch the movie The Shining, the little boy has a shirt that says Apollo 11, and that he kind of throws little
Easter egg.
Easter egg into the movie The Shining. But just do this yourself, guys. Go look up the moon landing footage, take it, times it by 2, which would be like 125. That's actually a little bit faster than 2. And you'll see that they're just moving normal. They're not, oh, they're gone. And there's no possible way you're going to tell me they lost the originals. No way. But what even shows it, I'm going to see moon landing. I want to see rover footage. Because the rover's what really, no, they're only going to show us the new ones. All right, here we go. Here's the rover.
I've seen a lot of this too.
Yeah, commercials.
I don't know if we get a copyright strike for this or not, so maybe we shouldn't show it.
I'm not playing any sound, and I'm only showing short clips, and I'm actually modifying it. So it goes under the fair use.
Okay.
I'm changing it for my, all right, now you see it, it's kind of like bouncing. Nothing drives like that, okay, at all. Not even on the moon. Oh.
No,
all right.
I mean,
Let's put it on normal. All right, so this is what it looks like in
you
normal.
can see it throwing the gravel off the tires, and that looks.
Oh, that's definitely in fast forward.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know.
Whoa, what did they must have messed with the speed of this video. Big time. There we go. That looks about normal. All right, so let's rewind that just a little bit. Put it on 125 and play it. It's just a buggy driving around in the sand. There's nothing real about it. I mean, I don't think that we actually, that even goes even deeper. I'm going to close this out, stop sharing. That even goes deeper into the flat earth theory. Some people don't even believe that we can go to outer space, that it's just, they call it the firmament, and that we've never been able to break through it. I don't know if I fall into that category, but just recently, it was like a year and a half ago, NASA itself built a new ship.
Yeah.
And they had a press release for the ship. And then in the press release, one of the engineers that built that ship was so proud. And they said, well, this will be our first ship that'll be able to make it past the Van Allen radiation belt.
Yeah, you were telling me this the other night.
Yes, and for you to get to the moon, you have to pass the Van Allen radiation belt. So in his own words, he says, we've never been past the Van Allen radiation belt, basically admitting we've never done it. So I think there's just too many ifs, ands, or buts about the moon landing.
I think it's funny that, you know, supposedly the footage had been taken out of NASA for some reason. They were moving some stuff around from place to place, supposedly got stored somewhere, and then years later they were cleaning out storage and it just got packed away someplace else, and nobody knows where it's at.
Right.
The most important achievement in mankind, like the most important thing that we've ever done as human beings, we misplaced the footage. And we don't have any copies, because why would we make a copy? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the only copies were from the live broadcast from the local news outlets that it was live streamed to. So
Yeah.
they were simulcasting it, and somebody somewhere I had a couple of news outlets decided, okay, here we're going to click on the feed and hit record.
Yep.
That's what we have now is those recordings of the footage that the news outlets were watching and rebroadcasting. And
The conspiracy theory goes, the reason that they did it is because they didn't want it in high definition. That way we couldn't figure out that it was faked.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So it's crazy how that moon landing ties into so many different other conspiracies. Flat Earth theory, the one I talked about, the Reptilian Theory, just so many different offshoot that shoots off so many. The Stanley Kubrick theory that he directed the moon landing himself.
Okay, so Nancy Van Dyke says, how about Mars? We couldn't make it to Mars without going to the moon. Well, the thing with the going to Mars is we've never sent a manned mission to Mars yet. It's only been rovers. So you can pass through the radiation belt and it's not going to affect anybody on the thing if there's nobody there to affect. You know what I mean?
Now, what about the astronauts themselves? If you watch the interview that they did when they got back, they're cut. I remember one point of the interview, one of them actually kind of nudges the other one to shut up. He's kind of like, and he looks at him like, you need to shut your mouth. Watch that interview and tell me if you think that those men are being truthful. Also, those guys, they've been, accosted by people so many times. And there's actually video on YouTube of them just totally, wanting to attack the people that are just asking them, will you swear on the Bible that you went there? Yeah. These guys get real violent and want to start punching people in their face. If it was true, I'd say, yeah, sure, give me the Bible. I'll put my hand on the Bible, no problem.
I mean, I think that comes back to that whole the Men in Black, and not just the movie. Like before the Men in Black movies come out, there was actually a thing as called these Men in Black. They would show up after UFO crashes or whatever, and they would make threats on people's lives. They would show up at their jobs and just watch them, and be menacing towards people that would call in UFO sightings or whatever. These Men in Black would show up, and for years that was the Men in Black. The Men in Black. They always show up. They're not part of the government. They're not part of NASA. They're just Men in Black that show up and, tell you didn't see anything and whatever. And then they came out with the movie, and it kind of discredits the story a little bit, makes a joke out of it. And now people are like, yeah, Men in Black. That's funny, But it was actually a true story before they came out with the first movie.
Well,
it was some of the Men in Black stories were that some of the Men in Black weren't men at all. They were actually some of the aliens.
Now they do that with a lot of different things. Just like the Men in Black movie, they've done it with aliens. They've done it with so many things. That's basically part of it, they call it predictive programming. But on another hand, like you said, making a joke out of it kind of gets the heat off of them.
Just the original story, yeah.
Yes.
Then it's looked upon as, it's just passe. It was something that, all those stories were put out there to hype up the movie, probably, kind of thing.
Yep.
And they're just stories, So it kind of takes away from the actual stories. But those stories about the Men in Black have been around since Roswell, 1947,
Yep.
Right.
The movie didn't come out until what? The early 90s?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that's freaking crazy, man.
I'll tell you, and that's like, okay, so here just a couple years ago, and this has happened. This is a strange one, okay?
Yeah.
because I can remember my mother telling me stories about this when she was a kid. This was happening all over the United States. People were dressing up like clowns and causing a hysteria about clowns. This is about every 20 or so years.
Yeah, they were.
And that's where the baseline of the story it came from, was the actual story about how these people would dress up like clowns. About every 20 years, you get this group of people dresses up all over the United States like clowns and starts terrorizing people. Now, in the book, Pennywise, Pennywise was this monster, this like big spider thing at the end of the movie, right? That came out every 23 years to feed. Okay, that was like the baseline for the story of it. Okay,
Yeah, it was.
but the whole 23 years clown and all that stuff was actually actual story, was actual facts. This stuff would happen, and just a few years back, we had all these people dressing up like clowns again, terrorizing people, and walking around in woods just to scare people and shit like that. And a couple of them got shot. I mean, a couple of these people that was doing that actually got killed, pretending to be scary clowns, just wandering around terrorizing people. So, I mean, and I'm wondering, years from now, is it going to happen again? Possibly. And I think the movies are just capitalizing off of that.
There's a really good one. Have you ever heard of Bob Lazar's?
Yes. Bob Lazar was the one that blowed the whistle on Area 51 reverse engineering alien technologies for the military.
All right. My biggest thing about Bob Lazar is he actually mentioned an element, an undiscovered element that they were using. And he actually gave the name for the element. Well, just a few years ago, this element is now added to our periodic table, and he was correct. Like now it's part of science that he actually knew about this element that didn't exist back then.
Oh wow! Okay, so with the Bob Lazar story, let me just interrupt here just for a second. No one, Kelly Skaggs, she says Ghost Mafia in 1974, which was the year I was born, or thereabouts. My mom's husband was in the military, and they lived on base. Had UFOs fly over base and burn front yards. They had two men in black go door to door on that base. So yes, the whole Men in Black thing it was a real factual thing that happened. It would happen. I've heard many stories of the Men in Black before the movies were ever out.
I just think it's funny that Bob Lazar's predicted an element, and that it's actually now on our periodic table and stuff that
he also blowed the whistle on the there is a drive system that uses mercury as a fuel, and that's what creates the levitation for the UFOs, is a mercury drive.
Yep.
And it's something about the mercury drive creates this new element that can be used as a fuel to burn or lift, and it creates a certain amount of radiation. And he had it all out there, man. He put it all out there.
Yes,
he
did.
was actually somebody that worked in Area 51 as a person who would reverse engineer these drive systems on these UFOs that the military would capture in crashes.
True.
Now, do I believe Bob Lazar's story? I think a lot of the elements of it are true enough statements because there's enough facts out there to support it. And that's the scary part.
I think Bob Lazar's is one of the most intriguing stories about aliens that actually has substance to it. It actually can be backed up.
Well, I mean, now the crafts that they were reverse engineering, one of them was from the 1947 crash at Roswell, New Mexico. Now, here's the kicker with that. You talk about presidents, whether they know or whether they don't know about what's going on with the military. Obviously, plausible deniability is a factor, and most of the presidents don't know, prior to becoming president, what went on in those times. But there was one president that knew all about it. You know who it was?
Nixon?
No. George W. Sr.
Oh,
was actually in the military and was in part of that cleanup effort at Roswell. He had something to do with all that. He was the one that was moving the stuff around. He was in charge of moving that stuff from place to place.
all right. I got something for you. This is for the Challenger crew here. All right. It's kind of blurry, but this is what they're saying is this is the Chinese guy or I don't know his actual heritage, but I think some of these pictures are just so close, so dead on. This is supposed to be this guy now, and their explanations for him. This is the teacher who's actually I believe she's son. I wish it wasn't so blurry because it actually tells you what their jobs are now today.
Krista
Well, I mean, they look exactly. If you look at this guy, look at the eyes.
They all do look a lot alike.
And their explanations are that for some of them that they had twins and they have and then their names are still the same. Like they changed their names just a little bit. Here's supposedly Judy Resnick, the teacher. This is the teacher today. And I don't know. I think this one has a little bit to it because you're not going to tell me that they all have twins. No way. Like,
this is the first time I've heard of this. I'm going to have to research this more. I'm going to have to check into this one.
The Challenger crew all being alive. Yeah, I've gotten really deep into this, and their explanations for who these people are don't add up. They don't add up at all. You're not going to tell me every single person on. What happened to Brian?
He says he's jumping off.
Did they take Brian out?
No, they're taking Brian out. Yeah. Yeah, I think JoJo has something to do with it.
They got to Brian.
Yep.
They got to Brian.
They got to Brian, guys. Brian is leaving us. I think I'm thinking maybe Brian just couldn't get a word in because me and Lou is like we get on these conspiracy talks and then we just talk and talk.
Oh no, it's cool.
And maybe he just couldn't get a word in.
I got a
we haven't even started on chemtrails yet, Brian. I mean,
oh yeah, it's all good. We got to get to bed anyway because we got a meeting with the principal tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot about that. All right, Brian. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
No problem.
And we'll get a hold of you guys tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
I'll get with you guys
for sure.
All right.
Much love, family.
Look, Brian, if that teacher starts acting up, he's an alien.
Damn right.
Mm-hmm.
Kill the alien. All right, much love, guys.
All right, bro. So yeah, chemtrails, controlling the weather. What do you think?
I believe it's necessary.
You think it's necessary? I mean, now I've talked with you about this before, and you know that you've told me about the casino there that they weren't going to build because Tell this story because
actually, and there's actually if you look up the date that the tornado hit Springfield, Massachusetts, there's actually a guy who has I forgot what he has, but he has some kind of like Doppler radar, and the Doppler radar shows that on that day there was some weird anomaly right here over Springfield. Now here's the deal. Our economy was so bad. I'm in construction. Our economy was so bad. Nobody had work. All people in construction were out of jobs. Plumbers, carpenters, electricians. Nobody was working. It was getting super bad. Now, what ended up happening? There's video of this. There's a tornado. Now, we don't have many tornadoes in Springfield, Massachusetts. A tornado comes up out of the Connecticut River. This is on tape. It just forms right out of the Connecticut River and takes out pretty much all of our downtown area. Well, what people didn't know at the time is they were actually planning on building $1 billion casino in the exact spot that was wiped out by the tornado. Now the casino is up and built. But literally like a wrecking ball, this tornado came through Springfield, wiped out the exact area that they needed to demolish anyways, took out the low income areas around it that were so bad with drugs and crime, and pretty much got rid of all the not wanted areas around there.
But now, is it true that they wanted to build the casino there, but because of zoning laws or something, they wasn't going to be able to until after the tornadoes came through, and then they was like, well, yeah, it's devastated now. You might as well build your casino there.
No, it hadn't been approved yet.
Ah,
It hadn't been approved yet. And after the tornadoes, it was approved. Now, there's actually, like I said, that Doppler from that day shows some weird activity right there in that spot. What a lot of people believe is they had a on purpose directed tornado from the HARP antenna, which is a weather control device. And we basically, and it fixed our economy directly after the tornado. Our economy, people are building again. People are making money again. Everything was fixed. It was, I would say, a necessary evil. But talking about the chemtrails, I think that we completed our
who decides who wields that power and where to put a tornado? You know what I mean? If they can control a tornado like a freaking flying a drone, you know,
well, if you think about
who
it,
decides who has that power?
well, if you think about it, the government is losing billions of dollars in tax revenue because millions of people are out of work, so they can no longer get their paycheck. So for them to fix this problem, if you think they got these super think tank brains in the government, they would come up with a solution to wipe out an area of Springfield. It literally fixed our economy. It fixed everything. You know what? Actually, I had went bankrupt during that time. And right after the tornado hit, everybody who was in construction was working again. And it's actually been good ever since. Only 2 people were killed in that tornado. 2 people. So pretty crazy. But what I do believe about the chemtrails is that we've depleted our ozone to the point that if they don't do this, we're going to have a natural disaster daily. Like, it's going to be like the movie The Day After Tomorrow. Stuff is going to start freezing up. Stuff's going to start going crazy. I think they're cloud seeding, and they're actually trying to fix the problems that we've made. So I believe, because think about the stuff that they're putting in these chemtrails: yellow manganese, aluminum. All right, our aluminum levels in our water okay, have gone up like so exponentially. The point of the government getting involved, the level of aluminum in our water is
Kelly
at like 100 particles per
Kelly
million.
said, do you think that that's what happened to Paradise, California?
It could, I don't even know about Paradise, California, but I would say it's possible. Oh, you're talking about the fires?
Possibility.
Is that what we're talking about? The fires? Well, it could be. There was a lot of weird stuff that was going on with the fires, like trees burning from the inside out. Also, they would use the thermal. How do you measure thermal? Anyways, one of those measuring devices that tells you how hot something is, and that it was so much hotter than a forest fire even could be, to the point of it being so hot that it would melt metal.
Well,
That-
yeah, I mean, and that's the basic formula of thermite. Okay, thermite, you can melt down an engine block of a car. I can make homemade thermite using aluminum shavings, magnesium shavings, and grinding up some, 4th of July sparklers.
Thing
And
is,
you can
though,
make
for it to be
homemade thermite.
for it to be thermite, they would have had to go around planting thermite everywhere. If it was a directed energy beam, you wouldn't even, it would be like a microwave. You wouldn't see it, but it would actually just start raising crazy, like so much in temperature. So, but these aluminum levels, this is one thing that's going unnoticed. Like the level for the government.
Like you were saying with the chemtrails, when they spread that through the air, it's going to fall to Earth.
Yes.
Let's say they spread the aluminum first over a plot of land. Okay, it's widespread, it's covered evenly, and the next time they come through, they spread the magnesium. Now, okay, now you have the aluminum, the magnesium. Now you have the shit that they make the sparklers out of, and they grind it into a fine powder, and then they spread that out. Now, over the course of 3 chemtrails in a certain time,
Yes.
all the elements are already on the ground, widespread, spread evenly, and then all it takes is a spark. A regular forest fire would generate enough heat to set off that homemade thermite, and then it would burn like wildfire, very hot, very intense, very fast, and yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. That definitely makes a lot of
sense. You don't spread all your chemicals at once. You don't throw them all in a bowl together unless you're intending to set that off right away. You set it off over time, let it settle to earth in an even pattern, and cover and get a nice widespread coverage, even coverage. And then you spread the next, and it lays on top, and it's basically mixed throughout the air, settling to earth. And then it only takes a spark.
I want to talk about these aluminum levels, though. The amount of aluminum that should be in our tap water is like 100 parts per million. It's up to like, I last time I seen something on it was like 100,000 times what it should be. And just like Serenity is saying, aluminum causes autism. I'm forgetting right now. It causes, what happened? What's that disease when Alzheimer's? Alzheimer's is a big thing that's caused by the ingestion of aluminum. Actually, these are things that you can't even boil out of the water. You know how they tell you to boil water to make it clean? You can't even clean water.
It's a mineral. I mean, it's, so I mean, and the chemicals are described as, hold on, let me read this. Chemicals are described as beryllium and aluminum salts, polymer fibers, beryllium, and sodium carbide.
All right, you want to get into an even crazier area of what the chemtrails do. A lot of people think that the chemtrails are actually nanobots that are making us all like big antennas for this new 5G stuff. Have you ever seen there's a disease, it's called Morgellons disease? Morgellons is a disease that people who have it are accused of being they're delusional. They have scabs that have thread-like fibers that come out of these scabs. And what people who believe in Morgellons think is that these are actually nanobots that are in all of our bodies right now, but it only affects people who have had they're attacking me right now, so I can't think. People who have had
Get the aluminum foil hat and put it on.
yes,
They're reading your
Lyme
thoughts.
disease. People who suffer from Morgellons, I think it's something like 90% of them have had Lyme disease. And so what they're saying is that people who have suffered Lyme disease, it affects those nanobots in their system and creates this this condition called Morgellons disease. I actually know somebody who had Morgellons. They would pull fibers out of their skin, out of their face, just a big hair. And this ain't a ingrown hair. They're just pulling fibers out of their skin out of nowhere.
Oh, Lou, you better check your ear, man.
Check my ear for Morgellons.
Yeah,
I've never
you
never
pulled
had
a big long hair out of there the other night, didn't you?
I did pull a hair out of my ear yesterday,
Oh, there you go.
and my ears felt better ever since.
That's true.
But
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never had Lyme disease, so chances of me having Morgellons are
You know what?
slim.
I've got Lady Swan over here just like every two. She's like enamored with this. She's like, zombie deer. Oh, that plant thing that makes you die. She's like throwing things off. She's reading it out of the chat. She's like shouting stuff out to me. Like,
Zombie deer are actually an issue that's going on right now.
yep.
That actually is very similar to the movie I Am Legend. Very similar. And that's another desensitizing movie. Let's make a movie about a disease that transferred into a horrible zombie crazy
And you know what? I know people who I have friends of mine that live up in Michigan, and that's where this zombie deer thing has broke out the biggest right now. It's up in Michigan, and it's starting to filter to the south more and come around closer to where we're at. But also, and I don't know what's going on with Michigan, but like Flint's water levels are all lead. You know, you got zombie deer running around up there. You got plant life now that if you touch the leaves with your bare hand, it's like touching a doorknob that has fentanyl on it. It can kill you. They literally have to go in there with hazmat suits and chop these bushes out because just touching the oils, getting the oils off of these plants on your skin can kill you. And there's all kinds of this stuff going on up in Michigan. I don't know what's going on. I'm kind of glad that I'm not up there now. So,
you know what? This is something that I've seen for myself. I want everybody who's in the chat to take a walk around your neighborhood tomorrow, middle of the daytime. Take a walk around your entire neighborhood, maybe around one block. And what I want you to do is look at mailboxes. I want you to look at all the mailboxes. And I want you to tell me if you see little tiny colored dots on these mailboxes. Some of them are red, some are blue, some are yellow. There's actually a bunch of different colors. And the theory is what these dots on our mailboxes are, they're to tell the government when martial law happens, when this crazy FEMA conspiracy happens, it's going to tell them who's going to fight them, who's going to cooperate with them, who's part of the conspiracy.
Militias or yeah.
They say if you have a certain color dot on your mailbox, that they're just going to take you out into your lawn and pretty much kill you right there on the spot. Do that one test tomorrow. Go around your neighborhood and tell me if you see these dots, because I did this test in my neighborhood and I was amazed. I went through a neighborhood that's 55. It's 55 and older. Almost every dot on the mailboxes in that neighborhood were the same color. Pretty much saying these people are old and cannot fight you, pretty much. And then I went to other neighborhoods, and then it got even more crazy to me because I started seeing these dots on everybody's mailboxes. There's some mailboxes that don't have them. But I actually talked to a mailman.
I was going to say, I don't have any dots on my mailbox, but it's pretty known fact that pretty much everybody out in this area are gun owners, rednecks.
Question, you don't have the dot.
Rebellious.
Do you have a scan bar? Do you have a bar?
No.
Okay.
I got nothing.
Yeah, they're not on every mailbox, but you will find them.
I mean, we do live out in the country, out in the cut, back in the holler. You know what I mean? We're not going to be the ones that get taken out right away. They're going to clean up the city first.
Yes.
And then they're going to start branching out into the country, because the city is where, you're going to have rioting and dissension and a lot of uprising real fast.
Nostalgic Angel Ashley says, I just spray painted mine yesterday, so I covered it. Did you actually see the dot? And another question is, she says, my mom just retired from the post office. Please go ask your mom if she knows what the purpose of these dots are for. I actually had one on my mailbox on my last house. The mailman comes. I ask him, I say, hey, what's this little dot on the mailbox? He gives me this strange look, and he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm kind of grilling him about it. I'm like, well, I guess I should just take it off since it's nothing to do with you guys. And he was just really alluding to not let me know what these dots are for. So, I mean, it goes much deeper than I could even explain. But just my own personal experience with it is I've seen them. And it just gets me thinking, like, well, why is there no explanation for what the hell these dots are for? But now
I heard something along the same lines. They want to know who owns guns, who has the highest probability of putting up a resistance in that type of situation where martial law would be, take place and things like that. They want to know who owns the guns, who has a record, who has a police record, or is prone to violence, or, is prone to the whole stand your ground kind of attitude. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the rating system that they go by for that. That's what I've heard. Now, I don't have any dots on my mailbox or anything like that, nor does my neighbor. But like I said, I'm out in the rural countryside, and we'll be the last ones. And when they show up here, they'll show up with more than one Jeep or Humvee or whatever, I'm sure. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the reason I asked if you had a scanner on your box. Somebody in the comments, I can't find it now, but somebody in the comments just said that they have a scan on their mailbox. But what I'm thinking now is because everybody knows about these dots. Because if I know about them, I mean, the secret's out. Now we're to the age of RFID. They can have one of these on your box and you would never know it. Never in a million years. And now around here, everybody's mailbox, including my own, has a scan on it, has a little scan sticker that when they come, they scan it when they drop the package. Those are in everybody's mailbox in my neighborhood.
Now, here's the thing. Like out in this area, it's not so much the mailboxes. You get out into the rural countryside. Now, this is something that the power companies have been doing, and I used to work for the power company, so I know this to be a fact. They have been changing the meter boxes. You know, if you get your electric shut off, they will actually come out, pull the meter, turn it 45 degrees, put it back in, close the housing, and put a lock on it, right?
Yes.
What they've been doing is replacing the old style meters with a digital meter. And what that digital meter does is it just sends a radio signal that they can pick up from the truck, so they don't actually have to come down to read your meter.
Yep.
Now they can put other sensors in that meter. They know exactly how many kilowatts of energy that you're using and everything else. But who's to say that they can't put some kind of like microphone system in there? I mean, it's bolted to the side of your house.
Well, now
And they have
microphones
that you can mount on the side of the house and hear what's going on in that room. So they could actually be listening to your conversations through that meter on your box.
Well, now in the age of smart everything's smart. Your TV smart, your freaking refrigerator smart, your cell phone smart. In the age of
they
smart,
secretly integrate all that stuff together.
Yeah, in the age of smart devices, it's just like Batman. They do not need no longer to have a device to listen into your house. They already have it. And I can prove it to you right now that they're constantly listening, because all I have to do is say, "Hey Siri."
Yep.
Now, if they weren't constantly listening, how the hell would Siri know that I just said, "Hey Siri"? And what other keywords are opening programs as soon as we say it? I tell you what, I think we probably opened up a whole can of worms tonight just by the stuff we've said.
Well, honestly, and this is why I like Apple products. Okay. Now, about a year ago, Apple was involved in a big lawsuit case with the FBI. Okay. The FBI and the government. The FBI and the government was wanting Apple to allow them to access things like cell phones and everything without having to go through the main, branch of Apple, or, the developers, the iOS programs, or anything like that. And Apple actually won and was able to keep the FBI and the government from being able to access Apple phones.
Come on,
however,
you're telling me
Android fully allowed them to access their phone systems and things.
That's
they didn't even
you into a false sense of security. Oh, well, Apple stuck up for our rights. Bullshit.
Well, I mean, think about it. If they went to the phone companies and they went to say Android, okay, and Android went, "Oh yeah, it's the government. We're going to let you do whatever you want." Apple is just arrogant enough to go, "Yeah, you ain't doing that to us. We're bigger than you. We've got more money than you." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Apple is just that arrogant to put up a fight like that. They are that arrogant.
Yeah, but you know what? They're not stupid, because if the government wants to make it, they'll shut Apple down in 2 seconds. All they have to
I mean, probably could, but I think there's more to the conspiracy behind Apple than anything else. Honestly, I think Apple is tied into Illuminati, or that
sure.
there is. I'm sure
kind of faith that Apple is protecting our freaking right to privacy in the slightest bit. No freaking way. No freaking way. And actually, there was just recently a conspiracy theory that Shane Dawson, you know who Shane Dawson is?
No.
Shane Dawson is a gay YouTuber who's an amazing YouTuber. He makes amazing, awesome videos. And he tested a theory where when you turn your cell phone on, or when you get a phone call and you pick it up, the person actually hears you talking before you even press that accept button. So what that means is that that phone is constantly listening to us.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so that's just like the Echo Dots and the Alexas and the Google Assistant, all that stuff. Now, you can ask Siri if she's recording you and reporting whatever you say to the NSA. She won't shut down. But if you will ask one of those Alexa boxes, if you're being recorded, and if she's sending those recordings to NSA, it won't answer your question at all. It'll turn itself off. It'll just completely shut down, power down, and
That's
you'll have
funny.
to turn it back on.
You can ask Siri some crazy questions and she gives you some messed up answers.
Mhm.
Like, are you trying to take over? Hey Siri. Hey Siri.
She ain't gonna answer you now.
Hey Siri.
They got to Siri. Oh shit.
Will
they
artificial
got to Siri.
intelligence take over the earth?
Okay, I found this on the web for will artificial intelligence take over the earth.
No. She actually does some smart ass answers. I've heard her say some crazy, silly stuff. Hey Siri, are you evil?
I'm not sure where you get that impression. I'm a gentle soul.
We
Really?
actually did a whole 2-hour live stream of this over on Walker Family's channel there about a week or so ago, where we was just asking Siri stupid questions like, "Where is Elvis? Where
Siri just told me she has a soul. She just said, I'm a
Maybe.
gentle soul.
Hmm.
Hey Siri, why are you always listening to me?
I only listen when you're talking to me.
Only listen when you're talking to me."
Hey Siri, how does that make sense at all?
Okay, I found this on the web
Okay,
for how
yeah. Don't ask stupid questions. You'll get
Yeah,
stupid answers.
I mean we'll cover Siri and that another time, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I can
Siri,
see,
you're a dumb biatch.
Apple and its affiliates being so arrogant that they think they could take on the world. I mean, Apple has more money than God, okay? They literally, when they're charging, $1,000 for an iPhone X, how many people went out and bought an iPhone X? 3-4 million people in 1 week? Think about that. 3 or 4 million people bought a $1,000 phone in 1 week. How much money did they make?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and think about, they got this new phone. It's going to be the Galaxy Note 10 Pro or Plus or whatever. That's going to be the first 5G phone, fully 5G phone. It comes out in like a month or two. That phone is going to be incredibly hard to get because everybody's going to just buy them up right away. And I'll tell you what, just personally, I can't wait to get it because I want that phone. But yeah, we're slaves, man. We're screwed. We are so far beyond screwed that we should just go with the flow, man. Because there ain't nothing we're gonna do about it. We're sheep to the slaughter, sheep to the wool.
Well, the government now knows I'm going to the bathroom. I said, "Hey, Google, I got to poop." So the feds will be searching for my septic tank in an hour. Don Briles. Oh, man. Wow. Okay, so I see Megan's blog in there, and I got to, conspiracy theories aside. Now, this is one of those stories that it's outlandish, it's crazy, it's off the wall, but it's absolutely true. Do you know that China is going to make a moon and put it in orbit around the Earth to shine light down on China so that they can save on their electric bill at night.
Yeah, so they don't need street lights. What I
Yes.
want to know is, where are they going to deploy this moon? It's going to be in space?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're
Just
going
wow.
to make a moon to illuminate the streets of China at night so they can shut down the street lights and save on their electric bill.
That's just crazy.
And Megan is verifying this. She says that is true. I've actually read up on this in the last week or two. I've seen stories about it. It is absolutely 100% true story. That is what China is wanting to do, is to build a moon and put it in orbit around the Earth.
I just don't understand how they could build something with that much mass without it affecting the gravitational pull of the Earth itself.
Well, it's probably not going to be the size of the actual moon.
No, because
It's probably going to be something like a satellite.
Yeah, but still, it's going to have to be really freaking big for everybody to be able to get that much light off of it, for them to save money on their electric bill.
I want to know which astronaut going up into space is going to be the first one to go, is that a moon? That's no moon. That's a space station. I'm just saying. I think it would be funny.
That I just think that's totally ludicrous, ridiculous. It's totally
Well, now here's a story.
atheist. It's preposterous.
Here's a story that we actually broke on Whacked Out Wednesday about a week ago. Okay. Now, JoJo found this story online. It is a true story. What they're wanting to do is put an international highway in that runs from, say, like the East Coast of America up through Canada, up to Alaska, and then they're going to build a bridge from Alaska to Russia. Okay. That is about a 90 some mile span of ocean that they have to build this bridge across. You're talking, you're going to have gas stations. You're going to have emergency vehicle, housing places there. You're going to have, I mean, you're talking in the Arctic cold area. This bridge is, you're going to have constantly, snow plows going over it and de-icers and, how that 190-mile stretch is going to cost you more than building the highway across Canada and the United States.
How long is the bridge that connects the Florida Keys to the Keys? I mean, to Florida mainland.
I'm not exactly sure. I think that's like 30.
Hey Siri,
I want to say like 30 miles.
how big is the bridge that connects the Florida Keys to Florida?
Okay, I found this on the web.
7 miles.
That connects the Florida Keys.
Oh, is that all? I thought it was a lot longer than that.
Oh wait, hold on. No. The overseas highway is 113 miles. Whoa.
Yeah, but that's not between two continents though. That's just between, Florida and the islands. Okay, which there's a lot of the ocean isn't that deep in that area compared to Alaska to Russia. You're talking 90 miles. You're talking 3 times that span. You're going to have service plazas, gas stations, police stations, things like that. You're going to have tow trucks. There's going to be accidents on there, being it's in the Arctic cold area. At some point, they're going to probably have to have some kind of helicopter life flight pad right in the middle of the thing or close to it where they can launch from there, come 30 miles down the highway, pick up an accident victim and fly them to a hospital in Anchorage or over into Russia, one of the two. But the trade agreements that would come from being able to transport from Russia to America, from America to Russia. It opens up a lot of trade that would only be done by shipping container or, being flown over. So
I
it
have
cuts
a silly
being able to truck things back and forth. So it would be good for the economies for both Russia, Canada, and the United States. And you could literally drive to Germany and pick up your BMW from the factory. And you know what I mean?
Good night, Scaredy Cat. I just got a silly question, and I think I kind of already know the answer to this, but all right. How fast does the Earth spin? It's what? Do you know the speed of the Earth's spin?
Hey Siri,
1,500 miles an hour.
how fast does the Earth spin? She's just going like the eyeballs on a Cylon.
Hey Siri, how fast does the Earth spin? Oh, she's doing it for me.
Rotates at about 360.98561 degrees per day.
That's not a miles per hour. I need miles per hour conversion. Yeah. Anyways, it's a hell of.
Just ask her how many miles per hour.
Okay.
the
Hey
Earth
Siri,
spin.
how many miles per hour does the Earth spin?
Okay, I found this on the web. For how many miles per hour does the Earth spin?
There's not
Check it
even.
out.
There's not even an answer. Any which way, it's a crap ton, right? Suppose.
Okay, so the Sisterswood says 1,000 miles per hour.
All right, 1,000 miles per hour. So my question is, why, when we take off with an airplane, why is it that we can't just fly against the spin of the Earth and get to our location? Say we're flying to China faster. And the answer is because we're stuck in the Earth's gravitational pull. But I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. If the Earth's spinning at that speed, the thing is we're spinning with it. Is the answer. So even if you're flying with the gravitational pull. So
Well, yeah, and you got to think of, okay, you got a record on a record player. The label is the Earth, okay? So at that label, at the size of the label, that would be at 1,000 miles per hour. But when you put the needle out from the label onto the record itself, now you're another so far out, and the rotation is larger, okay? So you're able to cover more area in a shorter period of time by going farther away from it and then coming back. You see what I'm saying?
yep. Newton's
So,
law of gravity, says Aurelius. Yeah, I guess
Right.
that makes sense.
So there you got your area of ascent and then descent. And then when you get up to that altitude, you're so many miles above the Earth and you're moving at 600 miles per hour at a distance of 3 miles. So you're multiplying your speed by 3 over the ground.
Yeah, but
It's
I would
over
think
the ground area.
flying against the spin, if you were flying against the spin, you would reach your location quicker.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's not true because
But if you were flying to Alaska, or if you were flying from New York to, say, Australia, okay, and you're flying with the spin, it would take longer than if you went the other direction and you're flying against the spin. Australia would come around to you faster.
that's actually not true. That's what I would think, but that's not what the math says. Do you know that there's a dead zone where planes aren't allowed to fly? There's a dead zone. I think it's like it's to the side of Australia somewhere or anywhere. Anyways, there's an area of the earth that no planes fly because I believe our instruments won't work there.
Actually, I have heard of this. There is a place somewhere around the North Pole where planes do not fly. And supposedly, this is where there's a hole in the ice and there's another existence underground that you could go into through this hole in the ice. It's all theory, but
That would be the South Pole.
or maybe it's the South Pole.
Yeah, that would
But,
be the South Pole.
It's called the inner Earth theory or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was that guy who went there. What was his name? There was a guy who went there, I believe is back in the 60s or 70s. What the hell was his name? Oh, try to take here's a conspiracy for you. Try to go to the South Pole. Try to take a vacation to the South Pole. See how close you get to the South Pole.
Who's going to stop you? I mean,
The military, they will not let you go to the South Pole for some reason. Here's another thing. Why is the South Pole the only place on the earth, okay, that all of these countries, all right, we got how many countries on the planet? A whole bunch. I don't even need a number, but it's the only area of land that these countries haven't fought over ownership of. Now, there's a lot of resources that can be taken out of the South Pole, but there's a treaty that has been in place for super long, and it's the only place on Earth that hasn't caused a conflict over who has the rights to it. Why aren't we there drilling for oil? Why aren't we there taking the minerals that it has? Supposedly there's tons of gold, silver, diamonds, this, that, the other thing. It's the one continent that nobody's fighting over. Why is that?
no clue. No clue. But Lou, we are at the 2-hour mark. So
Yeah.
I think you know what? I enjoyed this. I think what do you think about doing this like once a week?
Yeah, this was fun. Guys, if you guys have some conspiracy theories that you want us to talk about, send us
Or
a
if
message.
you'd like to get up on the panel with us on the next show, get a hold of me or Lou, and then we can discuss some conspiracy theories. That would be cool. Would you guys like to see a show about conspiracy theories with myself and Lou? And
Paranormal
Yeah.
white noise. We're not talking about the North Pole. I'm talking about the South Pole. Oh, Scaredy Cat just bring up a whole nother bag of worms. CERN. We'll talk about CERN next week.
that sounds like a plan. Hell yeah! Tuesday nights, Lou Rock, Ghost Mafia, and panels. You know, we had Brian's Paranormal up here tonight. He really didn't get to talk much, but huh?
Fracking. That's another one we need to write down. Fracking. I'm gonna write this down.
Oh, yes. We're going to try to get an answer next week from Ashley, who's going to talk to her mother about the post office box because her mother works at the post office, and get a definitive answer about the post.
The dots. The
The dots.
boxes. Yes.
We're going to check into this more thoroughly and see if we can't get some answers. And you know what? Maybe I'll even go to my post office because I've got a box that I need to get shipped out here pretty soon. I just got to get some. Got to get my payout from YouTube here in a few days, and I got to get I'm sending out a web camera to JoJo and Brian to help them out. So, hey guys, if you guys enjoyed the content, throw a super chat or a donation in there. That's fine. And we're going to start doing this. Maybe we'll make this a regular show, and we're definitely going to do it again next Tuesday night, 10 o'clock. Me and Lou, and do some more conspiracy stuff. Maybe have some answer on the dots, and talk about the cert, and
CERN.
never know what we're going to get into.
CERN.
CERN, yes.
We'll talk about-
Chemtrails, hog
Also,
ham.
I want to talk
90
about fracking. Shits and Giggles brought up fracking. Fracking is another one.
Fracking fracking is huge in this area. I know a lot about it. In fact, they're going to be building a cracker plant which processes the fracking and the gases in this area. They're going to be building a cracker plant. In fact, I have footage where they tore down the power plant that sat on the property. So
Don't give it all away. That's next week.
no,
Next week.
I'll see if I can get the footage where they tore down the power plant and everything, and I can show it because it's my footage. So it was really cool because when smokestack came down, it took out a drone that somebody was flying. Like, it actually smacked the drone out of the air. It was cool, and I filmed it all in slow motion. So
Yeah,
it was kind of neat.
You know what? This week, I'm going to pull up a bunch of visuals to actually have visuals for everybody for next week's edition. What is this called? What is this show called?
Let's talk conspiracy.
Let's talk conspiracy.
I don't know if you got a better name for it. You know,
No, I love it. Let's talk conspiracy next week. Visuals.
awesome. All right, guys. I want to thank Lou Rock for coming up here and hanging out with us and getting this off the ground. You know, we didn't actually plan to do like a show, but it just kind of, every time we was doing, you know, box sessions and stuff, it just kind of, people alluded to it, and we get caught up in it, and then, you know, we'd start talking about it. And he knows I'm a huge conspiracy guy, and he's a conspiracy guy. I know Mama Rock is a huge, even bigger than Lou. We got to get Mama Rock on the show one day.
All her information from me.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But we got
to get her on the show one day
for hours, like our own just private conversations, not even on YouTube. I remember we talked like all night till 5 a.m. about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going live?
But yeah,
I don't know yet.
I hope everybody had a good night tonight and enjoyed the show. Much love, everybody.
All right, guys. I want to thank everyone for coming. Give a couple shout outs out here. Let's see who's still all in there. Scaredy Cat's in there. Shits and Giggles. Trizzywicks. What's going on, brother? Nancy Van Dyke. Remy R. Kimberly Ramirez. Dustin Camo Man 73. And he was verifying all that Michigan stuff earlier. He's like, yep, Ghost is right. That's all true. Serenity Pointer. Flint still has no water. Yes, they haven't had water, like drinkable water, for over a year now.
Can't you set water on fire?
No, it's still water. But there's a lot of lead in it. It's not good for drinking. Deborah the Fam's in here. Your friend Otaka or Otaku. Trent P Fam TV. Sharpshooter, the mod god. Thanks for being here, brother. Paranormal White Noise in the house. Zara. James Lennon Boer. Lennon Weber. I'm sorry. My tongue ain't working today. Okay, so thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for making this a success.
Hold on. For next week, guys. All right. I have a question for you guys. And I'll answer this on next week's show. Does Lou Rock have pants on right now? Coming next week.
All right, guys. Good night, everybody. I'm hitting that stop broadcast right now.